Welcome, everybody. It's another episode of Cocktail Hour. It's episode 110. And I'm Andy.
And I'm Rev.
And with us is one of our very favorite author guests, Susan Meagher.
Hello, hello, hello.
We are so glad she's joining us. I think we usually have her on a couple of times a year. I think this is the
twice
first time.
a year.
Yeah.
She writes a lot of books.
At least 4 a year.
He's always yapping about something.
Yeah, but you're one of our favorite folks, so it's okay. We're always happy to have you. We book you, well in advance.
I know.
So we can make other plans.
I know. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry.
Please.
My internet's kind of funky, so it's coming in and out. I'm sorry if I cut people off. It's that damn Comcast. I'm just telling you.
I got
Bastard Comcast.
So, Susan's here to talk about Summer of Love, which we're very excited and can't wait to get into it. But I want to check with Sherry first. Do we have some housekeeping items that we need to go over?
No!
No housekeeping items. Holy shit. That's amazing. Usually we always do.
No, we didn't. Oh, no, we didn't. We talked about Ashley Bell last time with Colette, and we didn't want to give anything away. We just had fun talking about the book, and we didn't write it. We didn't do anything for it. We ain't giving nothing away. So we're broke.
Well, that's going to be different tonight because Susan is being generous again. So she always is. All right, so. Susan, would you like to give us a summary of what Summer of Love is about?
Sure. It is about a young woman, Chicago, Illinois, 1967. She is not yet cognizant of her sexual orientation or much of anything, really. And it strikes her sort of by surprise that she is probably gay. And luckily for her, not too long after, she meets another young woman who is also sort of right at the beginning of figuring out her sexual orientation. And they meet during that tumultuous, politically charged, repressive, and also very rule-breaking summer. And the hilarity ensues.
Wow. There was no hilarity. You tease. It's not true.
There was not a lot of hilarity.
There is, however, some good dialogue.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I tried to put some in there.
Yeah, you did. You did.
I tried.
So, what inspired you to write this book?
I don't know.
Well, it was a glass of wine. I was on a cruise.
I don't know. It was just next. I think I was inspired because I know a young person who is just now coming out. And watching her struggle with it, with supportive parents, a supportive school system, supportive university, supportive extended family, and she had a hell of a time of it. And I was thinking about what it would have been like so much longer ago during that very first wave of lesbian awareness. And I just started thinking about that more and more and decided to write about it.
Unless you have a very specific question, Andy, we do have a comment real quick, and I did want to remind folks we do have some viewers, so if you've got questions or comments, go ahead and type them in. If you're watching from the website or YouTube, if you want to participate with us, you need to come over to Google+. There'll be a little Q&A button on the top on one of the sides. Just click on that, and you'll come right over here with us. So Carol, What?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So Carol says, starting to sound like the movie Grease, although better. Grease would have been better if Sandy fell for Rizzo. I agree.
This did not remind me much of Grease at all, but hey, whatever works for you.
There was dancing. There wasn't. I don't think there was any singing, but there was dancing.
There was very little singing.
There was dancing.
But
there was dancing. Yes,
but not in a group, not in syncopation.
No,
it was very extemporaneous.
Oh, so now, Andy, the question that you're going to ask later, maybe put a musical twist on that, because that could be fun.
Absolutely. Were you? So, I was going to ask Susan if she was living in Chicago during the time that this book took place.
This is 1967. I was born in 1984. How could that possibly?
I know you were a very wee lass. I know, but I'm just.
This is before my time.
Oh, okay.
I lived in Chicago to go to college in the 70s, so it's not a lot before my time, but it's before my time.
Just wanted to, because it was, so you feel like you were there and present.
No.
So I meant good writing. I understand. All right.
These were the people one half generation before me.
Okay. All right.
They had it harder than I had it. But yes, I did live in Chicago. 8 years after this, whatever.
Okay. All
right then. I had that question too, because I know that you did live in Chicago, but I wasn't sure about the time frame. There are a lot of really interesting concepts in this book that appealed to me very much. Talking about, especially, talking about roles during that time, this was a very interesting time in our history, because you had, not really the older generation by old and young standards, but this is definitely when the break was happening between very specific butch femme roles into the feminist movement and you address a lot of that. I mean, really a lot of that. It's one of the major themes in the book is, breaking from those roles. And I really enjoyed the way that you handled that, where it was more of, this is our relationship. It doesn't involve anybody else. And that was really interesting, because even when I was in, 17, 18 years old in the Marine Corps, it was very much the same. We had very, very strict butch and femme roles, and it wasn't until many years later when my wife finally said, you know what, you can be however you want to be. You don't have to define yourself on the folks that you learn from your mentors in the community. Yes. And it was a really difficult thing for me, and I felt a lot of what Fritz felt. I don't know how else to be. I didn't know that I was gay until I met all these people and really had like a come to Jesus sort of moment. Like, oh, that's what's happening. This is who I relate to more. These are the people that I'm talking to more, and so I really enjoyed that part of the story a lot. And is that something that you dealt with also? I mean, I know you're a few years later, but it seems now, maybe over the last 10, 15 years or so, it's much less of an issue, but even before
it's less of an issue, even going in the opposite way. It's not just that you don't have to have a role, that if you do have a role, you're kind of not supposed to show it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's 180 degrees the other way. I was in the group of college girls who were in that first, the second wave of feminism, obviously. I wasn't with Susan B. Anthony. The second wave. I dated her, but briefly. She was a hellcat in bed.
I've heard that about her.
Don't want to speak much of the dead, but she was something. It wasn't in the group of young feminists who thought we were writing the book on how to be feminists. So we did not have roles. It was uncool to have them, really. We were just too busy saving the world in every way And I didn't so much because I'm working class, but a lot of the people that I hung out with were not working class. They were middle or upper at my college. And there was a very bright line between us and them. And they were 5 years older. I mean, literally no time at all. But they weren't college people. They were blue collar. They worked in garages, and they were mechanics, and they drove school buses and did normal jobs. And that wasn't us. We were going to be elected senator, and we were going to change everything and fix the world. So the group I hung out with did not truck in those roles. But the women at the bar we went to, there were only 3 bars in Chicago that I knew of during the time I first lived there. And they were all populated by women who were 5 to 10 years or 15 years older, and they were in very well-defined roles. And many of them were still dressing in drag. Women were still wearing suits. Their girlfriends were still in nice dresses and heels, and there was a lot of posturing and a lot of fist fights and, looking at my girl kind of thing. I've seen pool cues broken over people's heads. Yeah.
Damn.
It was still going on, for sure.
I think I saw some of that too in the mid to late 80s even.
Sure.
But that's in the military circle, so I think that might have been. I don't know, because that's the only thing that I knew. In Milwaukee, I'm sure that there's a large gay community.
Chicago and Milwaukee are the same.
Pretty much.
They really are.
But when I left home at 17, I had no idea what was going on. Carol has a question that's related to what we're talking about right now. She says, I'm not sure I'm asking this correctly. Did Susan base the roles on what was actually happening back then, or is this author's license? I was friends with a lesbian who was 40 in 1970, and she used to tell me stories.
Well, I based it on roles that I saw a few years later, and on a lot of research I did. I spent a lot of time at the Lesbian Herstory archives reading everything I could get my hands on, and I got a lot of help from the people at the research department at the New York Public Library too. So I read a lot. I read every novel that I could find. I read sociological studies. I read about 75 issues of The Ladder. I read the Daughters of Bilitis newsletters. Everything that they had, I read.
Have you ever
read a lot of the dime novels, the pulp novels? A lot of them.
Have you ever read any of? I think her first name is Leslie Faderman.
Lillian.
Lillian, thank you,
Yes.
Lillian Faderman.
Odd Girls and Twilight Lovers is a seminal book.
Yeah, that's an awesome book.
Out of that seminal book, it's it's a good book.
We have another question from Ona. Hi, Ona. Nice to see you. Have you read The Swashbuckler? And if so, would Frenchie hang out with any of the characters in this book based on her trouble losing her butch role as the times changed? And who? I'm sorry, I couldn't be in the room till late. Don't worry about it. We're just getting kicked
That's
out.
okay. Frenchie would probably, I have read The Swashbuckler several times. Frenchie would probably hang out with Fritz, and she might want to mentor her a bit, too.
Speaking of mentoring,
I don't know if that would work.
I was conflicted about Donna. I mean, I know that I believe that we should be conflicted about the stuff that Donna told her. Donna is essentially Fritz's mentor in the lesbian community. She's a butch. She's in her 40s. And there were some things that she would say that I was just like, don't listen to her, but the way that you handled the resolutions of those things was great, I honestly just really loved the way that that Courtney and Fritz's relationship was theirs to define, and even though Fritz was hesitant to let those things go, I was really glad though that it felt very organic. It felt very it felt true to life.
But you know what? I think if Fritz had been 5 years older and had known 5 years more, she couldn't have been Courtney.
No, I agree with you 100%. You know, it was that timing thing.
It was all timing because she was still new enough that she hadn't been locked into a role that she felt unable to move from. And she never would have allowed Courtney to just run off and, you know, looking any way she wanted and doing whatever she wanted and not wearing makeup and going and marching for peace and all this bullshit. She couldn't allow that.
There were some aspects of this which reminded me of Stone Butch Blues, which of course is very different in the story that's being told, but it takes place around the same time frame.
Pretty much the same time.
Yeah, and Jess had a lot of issues too with, you know, well, if I wanted to date a man, I would date a man, and you know, and the women that she was seeing taking shit over that. Yeah, so I just that had popped in my mind a few times, and
Buffalo and Chicago are very much the same.
Very working class.
Rust Belt cities. Well, Chicago not so much as Rust Belt anymore, but they all had that same kind of. There was a very strong working class, and you know, they ran the city pretty much. And so
wasn't Donna wasn't from Buffalo, was she?
Yeah. She was.
Okay. Yeah. Andy, go ahead, because I've got a lot of stuff written down.
I made Donna from Buffalo just as kind of a hat tip to Stone Butch Blues.
Oh, well, there you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and her story was interesting too when she finally got around to telling it about what happened with her mom and stuff like that. You know, that was interesting. So let's say I had roles, cultural differences. That was another aspect. You know, I think I've mentioned before, you know, I majored in sociology and multi-ethnic studies. So anytime there's cultural issues being discussed, that always piques my interest. So I mean, there were several different cultural issues that you deal with in this book. You've got race, class, gender, sexuality. Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of the isms in there.
Position for sure.
You've got ageism in there as well, as far as, you know, some of the job issues.
Yeah.
That was really interesting. Were all of those consciously addressed, or did they kind of just come up as you went?
Conscious. I mean, clearly, I was alive in 1967. I was a child, but I was alive, and you know, I'm from a very working class family in Southern Illinois, and I heard all of that all of the time. So,
and a lot of religious stuff in there too. Yeah.
Yep. Which is one of my revolves around one of my best lines ever in this story. Speaking of religion. Yep. Did you guys want to hear it now?
Yeah. I believe she has notes.
I have notes, I tell you. Okay, so my best line ever in this story revolves around them going to church. And Fritz was saying, I think it was Fritz was saying she couldn't go to church wearing shorts.
Right.
But Courtney, let's see, but Courtney was okay with it, right? But Fritz was like, she's not wearing it. And then, here's the quote. A sly grin settled onto Fritz's mouth. You're not a member of the club. God will be happy you're anywhere near a valid church. Because Courtney wasn't Catholic, so it did, you know, this doesn't count as not valid. So it was kind of, I don't know, it just touched a funny bone when I read it.
He's a pagan baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. What did she say? Was she Presbyterian?
That's what they said. Yeah, right.
Because it was a close by church, right?
Ostensibly, it was the closest church. Yeah. But they only went for Christmas and Easter if they were in the mood and they had time, and you know.
Wasn't pressing, you know.
Yeah. They were your normal 1960s, vaguely liberal, upper middle class Christians.
Yeah.
Back in the day, people didn't get all hot and bothered about religion that way. Catholics did, but
Catholics
everybody else was kind of laid back about it. You know, mainstream Protestants, they were like, yeah, we go.
Yeah. You know, when I was reading the story, knowing the time period was such a game changer and things were happening politically and socially. I read this book and I knew you wrote it, so I knew it wasn't going to be like, it wasn't going to be oppressive, you know what I mean? But I knew you were going to get your points across because you're very succinct, but you're a great storyteller. But I'm still sitting here on my iPad reading this story. My ass is puckered. I'm like, oh God, the cops are going to come in. The parents are going to disown them. I mean, I just know all this angsty shit's going to come up, and I'm like, there
was some angst. There was some angst.
There was angst, but you handled it really, really well. I'm like, woo, because that could have been just too damn depressing, but you didn't. You pulled it off without a hitch. You got in the points. It was very, very organic, and I'm like, oh man. So by the time I was there, I was like, whew, that was awesome.
No one died.
Oh God, right? Nobody died. Yeah. Although there were some parents' issues, but I think overall, given time, I think it all would have worked out. I mean, at least on Courtney's side, I'm talking about. I'm trying not to give everything away, y'all.
It have to be.
But
Courtney's mom made. She came around. I like that. I like the way that was handled. Like
relatively quickly.
Yeah, whatever.
But you know what? I think Fritz did what she did. Seriously, the timing. Speaking of timing, it was a good thing she decided to. You play with the bull, you get the horns. So, it was
some perseverance and some guts.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Got to admire a woman who will stand up.
Yep, absolutely.
It took and that was a nice evolution. From Fritz really does evolve a lot in this. Yeah, she really does. Courtney.
Not a lot.
Not a lot, but she was already very self-aware. Yeah. So I think she had some advantage over Fritz in that area. She was a bit more worldly. Fritz is very set in her opinions, very very working class.
Well, somebody tells you, your parents or your priest or whoever tells you what your opinions are, and then you just keep marching.
Yep, exactly.
That's how it was in my day.
Yeah. You know, another really cool thing, I had just got done listening to the audiobook of Devil in the White City before I read Summer of Love. That's why it took me a little longer to get to Summer of Love. And it was funny because you brought up the fact that they went down
they were right there.
I think it was long gone by then, but you mentioned that they went from Midway. What? The
parts of the park was built mostly for the exhibition.
Yep, but you brought it up, which I thought was really cool. I'm like, I just got done reading that.
Done reading that.
So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a good book. I like it, Eric Larson.
I've got it. I was supposed to read it last year, and I didn't. So, there you go.
They're making a movie out of it, by the way.
They could easily make a movie out of that.
Yeah, you know who's going to be in Holmes? DiCaprio.
Always.
He's
in everything. Surprise! There's a DiCaprio vehicle here.
All right, we've got some comments.
Oh,
they're all from the same person, but
that's okay. We like that.
We like her, so it's all right. So so Anne is here. Anne has made it to the party. She says, "Hi, ladies."
How you been?
Well, no, wait. She explains why. She says, "Sorry, I'm late. Was watching Villanova dominate."
Oh, Nova.
And then, so now, here's the thing about Anne, okay? So Andy and I just learned this about Anne last week. She's not read any of your books. So, Andy and I immediately say...
Wait, don't tell her. She knows which one.
Susan, which book did we recommend?
You told her to read All That Matters.
That's right, we did. So we said, you got to read All That Matters, and then we're going to be talking about Summer of Love. And she says, started reading Summer of Love, really enjoying it.
Good.
So that's good. So yeah. So and also make sure that you read All That Matters. It's getting dark in here. I can't see my notes. So one thing I wanted to ask you about. The format, the writing technique that you used for this, for the POV, seemed a bit different than most of the books that I believe that I've read from you over a while now. Is that this book only has Fritz's point of view?
Yeah.
Usually, if I remember correctly, you tend to write a POV from both of the main characters.
I'll go back and forth. Depends on who I think has more to process. If they're relatively equal in what they're trying to go through, I want to show both.
Okay.
But in this one, I thought Courtney had less growth, so I wanted to be in Fritz's head to see how she was processing all this. I thought she would have a whole lot more coming in, and she would have to work it through.
Mm-hmm. And
so
she did, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I had to be in Courtney's head, and if I don't, then one's fine, I think.
Okay.
I'll change for you.
Okay. Oh, and here Martha is helping Anne out. Oh my God, Anne, you must read Susan's books. I can't pick a favorite. Love them all. By the way, this is Heidi D. I'm using my wife's computer tonight. Oh, hi Heidi.
Hi Heidi.
Hey girl.
I'm glad you could make it, Heidi.
I've met Heidi in person. I've actually seen her.
I think that, there's been things that I've enjoyed in all of the books that you've written, but I definitely do have favorites. I think there are some, like All That Matters, Almost Heaven, The Crush. There are certain ones that that they don't. Those characters just don't leave you. And one of the things that you do that a lot of folks don't do is you spend so much time in character development, and the foundations of relationship building that, we don't really have a choice. If we stick it out, we don't have a choice but to know these people and really get to know them, and care about them, Mm-hmm. And for some of your books, the settings and the side stories and the other characters just really, really make them impossible not to love and impossible not to miss when you're done.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anne says that she's downloaded All That Matters, and what she actually said was All That Matter and Stunner of Love, and then she says, "Sorry, I shouldn't drink and type." I get that, really.
We're all drinking and typing.
So I'm going to tell you, I really love. I mean, I think both of you know this. I love period pieces. But I gotta say, the 60s and 70s wasn't wild about their styles.
You don't like the jeans and the...
But you nailed them, though. Every time you're talking about some cute little scarf or the little sandal, I'm getting this mental picture going, oh, I remember seeing that look.
But I tried not to go crazy with it, and I didn't let them speak with any 60s gibberish. There's no groovies. There's no.
That's right. I didn't, and I didn't catch on to that. But that was my next
comment. So fast. That kind of speak it grates on you.
that goes. We were talking about that on our last show. We were talking. There was a couple of some of the characters were surfers, and the author had them talking in the surfer speak, but then would go back immediately, or would immediately then translate for you, and it just really, it messed up the flow. So
stay cool, they mean.
Yeah. Exactly. And Heidi says, hi back, and yes, Susan, we have met. Next Women's Week you attend, I'll bring the oysters.
Sweet.
And then Carol says, going back to what we were talking about in regards to the time you take in developing these characters and their relationships and foundations, Carol says, what you just said, it's why I like her books more than some other authors.
Thank you.
And Anne says, as a side note, Susan reminds me of my BFF from Philadelphia. So glad I've discovered this new author. So are we.
Sure.
Yeah.
Love
And when you're done with this show, you can go back and watch the old Susans. Oh, yeah, and Amy, hi, Amy, glad you could make it, says, I have to put in my 2 cents for Almost Heaven and All That Matters. They are both fantastic reads.
They are.
Agreed.
Yep,
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Amy has, in case I haven't mentioned this before, Amy has fantastic taste in books. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, we know that. She's right here, talking to Susan, just saying.
Exactly. One thing go ahead, Andy, go ahead. I'm going to turn my light on because it's dark.
Yep. Are you?
It's dark.
It's dark in there. Normally I don't give the guests questions up front, but this time I really wanted to find out if this book could be a movie, who would Susan see playing the title roles? I didn't give her a lot of heads up because I only did it just before we started recording. But I'm really curious because there's such a new crop of Hollywood actors in the last 5-6 years, at least to me they are. And I got to tell you, I probably don't know 90% of them by name. I mean, I recognize them on film, but I probably couldn't tell you who they are. So it'd be interesting
to movies. I watch movies a lot, and I know most of the actors who are really working a lot now. I can't think of anybody who reminds me of either of them.
Oh, damn. I should have posed this a couple of days ago, buddy. Sorry.
Even if I did, the look now is just so different from 1967. I need somebody really kind of innocent looking for Fritz. Irish looking girl.
Yeah.
Maybe that woman from Game of Thrones. No, she was. I don't think she. Egret. She's going to be on Luther now. And she's on some other damn show. I don't know.
I know, but that could be the question for the.
Jennifer Goodwin.
Jennifer Goodwin.
Jennifer Goodwin.
Maybe I'll put my IMDb.
Is she Snow or is she?
I don't know. She has black hair and it's short.
Oh yeah.
And she has blue eyes.
Yeah. She's on Once Upon a Time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who would she play?
Fritz. She's got kind of that innocent look about her. She doesn't have the butchy look, but Fritz isn't real butchy. She's just butchy enough to be pegged as a butch.
When she, I've stopped watching the show a while ago, a long while ago, I think. But there were different scenes where she was back in the fairy tale time, and she was kicking ass in the forest and doing all that shit. She was badass. That's when I like her, and not when she's.
Yeah, I haven't seen her since the one about the Mormon wives.
What?
Big Love.
Oh, I'd never saw that show. Okay.
Oh, I love Big Love.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that show.
She was the youngest wife in that. And for Courtney, I need somebody who's a little aware of the ways of the world, but still really young.
Jennifer Lawrence.
J-Law could play her for sure.
She's got the attitude for it. That's for
sure.
Yeah.
I love
Courtney. Yeah.
Okay, we're done.
I like it.
There you go.
Excellent casting.
We just need the producers to come up with the dough.
There you go, right?
There you go. So Carol says, Snow White, does Fritz die? Because Snow should. I agree. That's why I stopped watching.
Fritz never dies.
No. And then
none of my characters ever die.
that's good, I guess. I don't know. I like when characters die.
That's why you read Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh my God. And Ona says, "I love Butchie enough."
Just butchy enough.
That should be all of our goals. Just to be
when
butchy
she walked
enough.
into the bar the first time, she clearly didn't look like a femme.
Mm-hmm.
But she's more androgynous. But
Mm-hmm.
androgyny wasn't really a thing that people wanted in the late 50s, which is when most of these, or in the 40s, which is when most of the people who were her mentors were coming out. Because Donna, her mentor, had been in World War II. So she'd been in the life for a long time.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Was the women in the bar.
Yeah.
There was, so the women, they get arrested. That happens pretty early on, so it's not really a major spoiler. It happened a lot. I think everybody who knows anything about our history nationally should know that already. And the types of things that happen to the women when they are arrested. There was one woman, I think, was it Dolly? I can't remember, who actually had kids and ate her driver's license because
it was a different woman, but yeah.
Oh, okay. And then there was another woman named, it was called Pancake, and that was really interesting. Again, going back to roles and the importance of the roles and all of that. You mentioned all the research that you did. Did you pull some of these women and some of their, not necessarily their exact stories, but ideas for some of this background from the archives and the archival information? Or
Not really. When I first started going to bars in Chicago, there was a Donna-ish person, and there was a Pancake-ish person, and there was an Augie-ish person, who all went to the same bar that I went to. And I was fascinated by them. They kind of ignored me and my friends. It was sort of like there was a big line down the center of the bar, and the people who had been there before us were on the left, and the people who went to college at the local college were really excluded. But I was fascinated.
You guys were the ones who were off dancing with each other, and everybody else scorned you. And
yes.
Okay.
Yes. We all had on jeans. We all had, the whole bit. Very, very 70s, very late 70s, and they were not fond of us in any way. But over time, because I was there constantly, I got to be friends with Donna. Bar friends. We never saw each other outside of the bar. But if you bought her a Irish coffee and she was in the right mood and the place was empty, she would start telling tales. And she told some hell of a tale, I'll tell you. So a lot of the things that actually happened, I stole from my Donna. Those were experiences that she had. And that one where she was roughed up and her girlfriend was kicked and she was kicked and she had ribs broken, that happened to her. And during this time in Chicago, there's so many cute little things that happened. So fun. There was a pretty well organized habit of taking women into interrogation rooms and letting an individual male officer do whatever he wanted to her. They had a federal lawsuit against them. There were also strip searching women for traffic offenses. If a guy came in, doing almost anything, they'd just pat him down, but they would do strip searches of women for, going 36 in a 35-mile zone, that kind of thing. There was some awful stuff going on in Chicago in the 60s and 70s. I mean, when the mayor in 1968 tells the police to shoot to maim for the protesters at the Democratic Convention, that from the top down, they're giving you a message that you can pretty much do what you want.
Yeah.
It was a rough time to be gay.
Jesus.
And the bar that I went to, they definitely paid protection. They paid I think it was Thursday. A cop would come to the door, the owner would go out, give him money, curse him out, bitch about him for a half hour after he left. And it was like a lieutenant level. It was not some kid.
Wow.
I was glad that you put that that you'd have that also in the book. And the other thing that I thought was really really interesting was the way that Augie didn't have a problem saying, we need to raise some cash.
Right.
This is your place to come, to be who you want to be. We're doing the best that we can. We're not making any money, so it's time for the payment to the cops. It's time for the rent, whatever. Kick in what you can. Yeah. Yeah, I really like that.
I went to, there was a social element and there was a community element. There really was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was your bar.
Yeah, that's really important. I think that's an incredibly important aspect to the story, and to a lot of other stories that take place, before what I would say, before the current time, where being gay, it's not a cakewalk for sure, but it's certainly much different than what previous generations went through. There was a community. A lot of people don't go to bars anymore. When I was first coming up, we were always in a bar because that's where people went. That's where you went to meet up with other folks just like you.
You didn't have the options. Where are you going to go?
Right.
Ads? No.
Right. Now it's I feel like nowadays these goddamn kids can just go anywhere. But right, it's mine now. This is my ball. But that's a really important part of our culture that we need to remember and understand is, it wasn't just because we were depressed and needed to drink or, whatever. It was a community gathering. I'm sorry, what?
Although there was that element.
But we lived in Boise for a little over a decade. One bar, male and female mix. That was it, the Emerald Club. And it wasn't so much that everybody wanted to go and party and hang out and dance. That's just where you went to meet up, to go other places, to whatever. There's such a huge community element to those bars. That I think it's really important that I was so happy that you captured that. That was very, very important.
But they're also dangerous because you do have a tendency towards drinking too much, and you do have a tendency towards depression, or you are conflicted about your sexual orientation. It can be hard to say no, especially when beer was only 35 cents. Of course, you only made $1.20 an hour, so that added up.
Yeah.
Let me see. Carol says, in London there were bars that had red lights. If the light got turned on, anyone who was dancing would break apart. You didn't want to get caught touching. So, security, some type of an early alarm system. And I've heard of that in bars here, or having someone on the door, some sort of lookout.
Every bar I went to
situation.
during those years had someone at the door. And if they saw someone coming, and they had those convex mirrors up.
Yeah.
And if they saw someone coming they didn't like, they would immediately lock the door. So
we've come a long way.
Stop the cops for a minute.
Long enough for, they talk about that in Stone Butch Blues too, I think, didn't they? Where you had to have on, if they arrest you, you got to have on at least one article of clothing for your gender or something.
It was 2, I think, in Chicago, because you would have to have a bra and girls' underpants on.
And you do talk about that. You do mention that in the book, yeah.
But that was never the law in Illinois. It was just what they said. Because, if you got enough police saying this is the law, it's the law.
There you go.
There you go.
It's the de facto law.
It's the de facto law.
Yeah. And they didn't charge them. If they didn't charge them, then there's,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I was in a bar once where the police came in and tried to round everybody up. And they were getting ready to call a paddy wagon, and then they changed their minds or something. I don't know what happened, but we weren't actually arrested.
Were you shitting your pants?
Yeah.
I bet.
I was about 10 years from coming out to my parents. I was still in college. They were paying for me at the time. Wouldn't have gone well. No.
I guess it wouldn't.
We've got a non-Summer of Love related but Susan related comment from Ona. She says, I'm a student in the GCLS Writing Academy and came with the
Yay!
and came with the student Susan is mentoring. Okay, she's just too self-conscious to say anything. It's really cool to get to meet one of the mentors.
And, good to meet you too. I love the GCLS program.
You've mentioned that to me once or twice before too. So
I've participated ever since it started.
So do you get a new mentee regularly, or do you stick with those?
I usually had 3 a year.
Wow.
2 or 3 a year.
Wow. All right. I
know, it's like, and you're like rolling out like 3 or 4 books a year.
Four books a year and 3 mentees a year. That's
well, not all simultaneously, because the way they do the program is they only ask you to talk to one another for a fairly limited time period, just a couple of months.
And you're doing that in between the books?
No, simultaneously. I mean, but I don't have 3 mentees at once. I have 1, and then I'll get a new one.
All right.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. I would do more if they needed more, but.
Wow.
Well, there impressive. You go. Anybody who's interested, just send Susan an email.
All of your writings.
And then going back to when we were talking about Butch and Femme, Ona says, technically, I just got rid of it. I'm the butcher of the pair, and I moved the question. Hold on, let me find it again. Sorry.
That's all right.
Technically, I like the butcher of the better too, but then I'm a 50-something femme. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Well, no matter what you are, you should like one of them, because in this book, you have a choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then Ona just has one final question. I have to leave. Susan, thanks so much. I definitely want to read this book, and thank you for this contribution to keeping our history alive for those of us who might not have a real taste of it. And then also, Ona had asked earlier if there was going to be a giveaway. There will be a giveaway. You can check the podcast, or you can finish watching the episode, and we'll figure out we don't know what we're going to do with that. You can just leave a comment, and I'm sure that will be just fine. To get entered to win either a paperback or ebook of Summer of Love.
Or some beads for around your neck.
You can maybe discuss your favorite 70s, 60s, late 60s, early 70s clothing.
Rolling papers.
I'm a zigzag woman all the way.
I'm a zigzag woman myself, yeah.
My father enjoyed Bugle, or Buglers.
That's old school.
Yeah, that's old school. He's an old school stoner. Anne wants to know if she's going to see you at GCLS in July.
I certainly hope so. I plan on being there.
It's been a while. You haven't been to I haven't been to the last few. You haven't been either, have you?
I haven't been for a couple of years, yeah.
Yeah. You're going to go to Chicago, though, right?
I'm going to Chicago.
Damn right. Yeah. I'll see you in Chicago.
I'm going to go at the Hilton Stockyards Inn. That's where I'm going to be.
Don't open the windows.
You know, the posts are still up that say the Stockyards.
Really?
Yeah, they're still there. It's kind of cool.
Well, maybe you can come down and hang out at the house. We can have a barbecue.
I'd love to.
That'd be fun.
We're just in Milwaukee. Yeah. Yeah, you can come hang out. I
want brats. I want brats.
Oh yeah, no problem, no problem. We'll get some
Yeah, you
brats.
see that now. I didn't get any when I was there. What the hell, man?
You were here in January. There are no brats on the grill in January.
You can't put in the grill.
August, there was no brats. You
gotta get to the grill.
In August, I think we had steak in August. Fine, no steak for you. You get brats. That's fine.
I like Sheboygan brats if I can have my choice.
Sheboygan brats. I don't know.
You know, you have the white ones and then you have the non-white ones?
No, I don't know.
I like the non-white.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're running out of time. We got what?
Well, speaking of something for everybody, I was thinking it's the time to play the game.
Okay, I got mine.
Ready? All right, here we go, people. We're playing the game.
Wait. Because this is thoroughly relevant to the conversation. Anne says there's always time for brats on the grill.
There you go.
No, there is. It was just really cold, and we would have been able to maintain the grill temperature.
It's not the time. It's keeping the grill the right temperature.
You're in Ohio. You should know these things.
6 bags of charcoal to grill in.
We have the wood pellet thing. So.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, my hamster made wood pellets. Okay, anyway, here's the game. Here we go. Ready? On Summer of Love, Susan's book, who would you fuck? Oh, yes, we're playing that game. All right, Susan, you're up.
Courtney.
Courtney, no.
I don't even want to think about this.
No thinking, just Courtney. Just yep. Okay, then.
We're done? Everybody's Courtney?
No, I'm not. No.
Who you got, Sherry?
She wants Donna.
I'm kind of going back to my old school choices, but I'm conflicted. I got two answers, but for different reasons. Okay. All right. So. Shut up. You don't know what I'm going to say. God damn it. Okay. So yeah. We got Fritz's mom on this hand, right?
On this hand.
Okay. We got Fritz's mom on this hand because because she's so sweet and understanding, but I think that she'd be a wildcat if you really got her. I think she's been alone for a few years. I think, and now her daughter's got her thinking about these other things. I think that she could go. Okay, but then on this hand...
47 years old.
Huh?
She's only about 46 years old.
Shit, she's younger than me.
There you go.
I'm good. I'm in there. So, but on the other hand, we got Betty.
And Betty's only about 42.
Yeah, so Betty, Courtney's mom, who doesn't seem to have a problem with saying, you know what, fuck you, buddy, you're not the boss of me.
And she can cook?
And she can cook? Anne says, you want to fuck the mom?
She apparently wants to fuck the mom.
You've missed a lot of our older shows, and I almost always go for the mom.
You did not go for Hennessy's mom in The Right Time.
No, not that one. Oh, the moms have to have teeth. I'm a fan of teeth.
Good dentures. Good dentures. But
that could,
they're caring about the dentures, not for you.
Well, I mean, dentures wouldn't be too bad. You can just take them out, and then you got the.
When they don't care enough to get them, that's the problem.
That's the problem. I mean, she had a lot of other issues, but yeah, I mean, dentures could be okay. I mean, you take them out, you got some soft there. It's fine.
Hennessy's mom would have done anything you asked her to for a bottle of vodka. And I do mean anything.
Anything. No. But I think I picked Grandma on that one.
I think you did pick Grandma.
I like older women. What can I do? I'm all right with that. She was a firecracker, and she could cook too.
And she could cook.
That's right.
Pretty good choice. I think Betty would be fun.
I think so too. I really do. All right, there you go. And by picking the moms, I very rarely have any competition.
Yeah, no competition.
Andy?
So which mom did you settle on?
Courtney's
Neither. I'm going to play the field with the moms. I mean, if Anne wants to settle down, I would probably do that for her. But I would want to. I'd go for Betty first, because Anne would probably demand monogamy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she would.
I think actually I'm going to have to mirror your choices. I actually do. Yeah, I think
What?
Betty would be.
Wait!
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to fuck Fritz. She's too butch for both of us. Sorry.
And Courtney's too young. Courtney's too young.
I agree with her politics, though. But
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But she's got too much. She's got too much to learn.
Oh, but you know what, too? Is she could probably also get me some good weed. So I don't know. I may have to rethink that.
Yeah. That part.
You know, I bet Betty would probably be able to get some good weed too.
Smoking anytime you wanted to.
We could call up Hennessy's mom every once in a while.
Hey, Maribel.
But at least you didn't kill her off in the final version, so you know we could call her up.
In 4 of my versions, she was dead twice.
But she wasn't a very sympathetic character, so it didn't feel good to let her go, you know?
I had her die once after falling down the steps of her trailer and falling onto a gin bottle that broke and severed an artery. And she bled slowly out.
That's not karma at all.
Oh my God, that's so wrong.
And the worst thing was it took her all night to die.
Oh my God.
She was too drunk to save herself, and if she had, she would have been fine. Oh my God. Poor Hennessy.
Oh, that's another one of my favorites. I have to say that The Right Time. I'm sure that I'll be reading that one again pretty soon too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. I like
so we
that
need to come up with a question for the listener.
Wait.
For the website.
Wait.
What?
What? Hold on. We got a question here, and it's actually a very relevant question that we normally ask already. Heidi wants to know, what are you working on now?
Oh. Well, in the novel area, my next one is going to be about chefs in New York City, and I am actively working on the next Jamie and Ryan book.
So we've been hearing about the chefs one for quite a while, because I know that's how you got stuff going, right? Okay, so we already know about the chefs one. We know you got 3 working at a time.
I do.
What are the other 2?
The other one that I'm almost finished with is about a woman whose sister is extremely famous movie star.
Ooh.
She is not. She's a hairdresser. But her sister is a young ingenue. Her sister is Jennifer Lawrence, age and style. And she's getting role after role and is getting mega famous. And the hairdresser, see, there you go,
visual aids.
Gets a crush on someone who has in the past had a lot of fame of her own and has disavowed this fame and wants to avoid more.
Interesting. Is there an age gap in this one, or was the other person like a child star?
She was famous when she was young. Yeah, when she was like from young child to about 17.
Oh, Susan Day. No.
But she wasn't famous for the normal reasons. She was famous for different reasons.
Oh, she was a porn star.
She was in kitty porn. Yes.
Oh, that was sad.
Yikes.
And then the other one that I've done some work on, but I'm having trouble getting it because it's not winter anymore, is about women in Maine, and winter has a lot to do with it. So I need
Stranded?
Kind of, yeah. I need to be in winter again to get in the right mindset for this. So it's about.
We had a lot of snow here today. You could have come and visit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oi. Oi.
Yeah.
The next one again is about ice, cold, snow, being stranded, bad stuff happening, cross country skiing, dog sledding, snowshoeing.
Wow.
Outdoorsy, very active.
Cool.
And all sorts of stuff. It's not really suspenseful, but bad stuff happens.
Uh-oh.
I love it when bad stuff happens.
I know, you want the main characters to die.
Maybe not the main characters. I mean, there's nothing wrong with little maiming here and there.
Little
Oh my
main.
God, don't even...
Hurt, comfort.
I would. There's some maiming in this book. Yeah.
All right, it's a winner for me.
Yeah, right? Yeah, when's that coming out?
I don't even know who their mothers are, so I don't know.
Oh.
I've only worked
Make them hot.
on the main characters and the plot. I do not yet know their mothers. I'm gonna have to get on that.
Make them hot, Gary says. Make them hot.
Make them hot. Or limber, one of those.
Hot or willing, either one.
Heidi says you just need to turn up the AC. That'll get you. That'll get you set.
That's like the whole thing. I wish I wasn't like this, but I kind of have to write in the season that I'm in. It's like if I don't, I get all mixed up. I go outside in a winter coat and it's 79, and it's just like full.
So we've got the chefs in October.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope so.
And you'll have another winter before the main one goes in next May.
I'll be able to write the next one in the winter.
Yeah.
Writing it in the winter.
You're actually ahead of. Your schedule is off.
I know. I'm writing faster than I was.
Yeah, because normally we shouldn't have had you on until next month.
Normally it's May.
And this one's been out.
But this one went out in March.
Yeah. So are you thinking now instead of 4 books a year, you'll bump it up to 5?
I still might do 4 because I might knock the Feminists down to 1. Because I have to write them from scratch now.
Oh.
I used to not be caught up. So I only had to really edit 2 of them. Now I have to write them from scratch. And that's harder, as I'm finding. Whipping out another 140,000 words is not as easy as editing 140,000 words.
I bet. Holy shit.
And then I have the problem of I have to post it on my list because I promised I would always do that. So I'm going to post it at the same time I'm trying to sell it, which makes me think I'm not going to sell many of them.
Oh, that's right. Because I mean, really,
$9. Ah. Oh,
you know what, though, I bet you'll still sell a load.
Most people don't follow me on my list, so yeah, I don't care. You know, what are you going to do? I made a promise, so I have to keep my promises.
And it's only a few books yet. You're almost done with the alphabet.
6.
Really. What are you going to call? What are you going to call X, Y, and Z? Well, Y wouldn't be too hard. What are you going to call Z? Do you already know? Zephyr or something like that?
At this point, I'm going to call it Zeitgeist.
Oh.
I'm going to other languages.
Very nice. I like that. You know, I might read that one. I might read that one because I always need a Z book for my A to Z challenge.
Oh, well.
So in a few years, I'll be set.
Oh, in 6 years. So yeah, I'm probably only going to do one of those a year because there's only so much I can immerse myself in Jamie and Ryan. So probably still 4, 3 and 1 instead of 2 and 2.
All right then.
But that's not a promise. You never know.
Never know.
I could go on a tear.
You could.
I love that.
Just let us know so we know when to book you.
Oh, absolutely.
Every 2 months.
Every 2 months. Which,
so it'll, every other month it'll be Susan Meagher and Colette Moody to talk about some horrible murdery book.
I know, right?
It would make scheduling easier.
It really would, honestly. It would be so much easier. It'd be a cocktail hour with either Susan Meagher or Colette Moody. It's one of those, and that's fine.
It's a winner. It's a winner.
You know what? It would be fine with us. We have a great time. So I just want to point out that my big glass is almost empty.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's a really good segue into let's round it up and think about a question for the site for our listeners so that they can enter in to win either a autographed book or an ebook.
Or a pack of rolling papers.
Or a pack of what?
If somebody picks the paperback, you should throw in a pack of rolling papers. Absolutely.
That would be awesome.
Okay. Well, we've been doing who would you pick to star in? Okay. All right. I think just about everybody has read at least one of your books. Who would be watching and paying attention right now? And Anne will be done with. Huh?
None of us have read none of these books and just happened upon this channel.
They just happened upon it. They would have left by now. It's fine.
Well, we have 2 weeks to get a book, read it, and then comment.
There you go. If you were to make either a musical or a film or a play, some sort of production of any one of Susan's books, who would you cast and why?
Ooh, I like it.
Anne says, I'm close. I choose to believe that she's just enjoying the show and not talking about the book at all.
Just off the top of my little pointed head, Almost Heaven would make the best movie.
Oh, it would definitely be very cinematic. But I don't know that it would be the best movie. I don't know. I don't know.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I think it would be because there's so much. I mean, there's so many characters that you could really.
There's some characters, all right.
That's true. I mean, you do have Cody's family, and I mean, yeah, that's true, and it would have beautiful scenery if you could, if they could capture that.
I really do think that's the most cinematic.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, we don't need to think about that right now because you all need to think about that.
DiCaprio getting inside that bear skin when Cody was out doing that deer.
Doing what?
Getting the deer at the very beginning of the book.
Oh, yeah.
But she didn't
I can hear the dogs. All right, so that's the question. That's what I think we should go with. Do you think so, Andy? Are you good with that?
I'm good with that. I like it.
All right, Susan, you good with that?
I'm good.
All right, so any one of Susan's books, any of her characters, you want to do a crossover? Cross it over. Tell us what you want to do. You want to. Oh, Andy perked right up for that one. You want that one. You want Hennessy and Cody in a little midnight soiree? Who can say?
Loving it.
Dr. Kylie and Maribel Pikes.
I like it.
Anne says, what about Ellen Page as Fritz?
Okay.
She's too short, though.
She's a little on the short side, but
yeah. But I could see that one.
Could put her on.
She's still a little tomboyish, a little thin, a little waif, kind of. I think.
How about Kristen Stewart?
My first reaction to whenever hearing her name is ew, but you know what? I'm starting to like her a lot more. Especially after seeing her in Still Alice, I was really impressed by her. Yeah, I think so. We really need to cut this off.
She's running all around Europe, kissing her girlfriend, and
Yep.
That is true. Yeah. Okay, so our next show is May 7th, y'all. It's going to be Sherry and Colette again. We're going to talk about Dashiell Hammett's The Thin Man. There you go.
Or the movie?
The book.
The book.
You're actually going to read the book. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much, Susan, for coming on. Again, we'll have you back on again because we love you.
Thank you.
I just want to say to Amy and Anne, thank you for the rest of your comments, but we gotta go. We're really happy that you guys showed up, and you know, always happy. And Susan, always happy to have you on.
Thank you.
Thank you for the great book. Thoroughly enjoyed many aspects of it. Overall, it was a really good read. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yep. Thumbs up,
Everybody
man.
go buy it.
Go buy it.
Bye-bye.
All right. Good night, all.
Good night.
Right.